Hey everybody, I'm Dave Thomas. Welcome back to another edition of Principles of Learning right here on HHTV. Now you know how it goes. Every month HHTV highlights some of our primary principals representing our 5 elementary schools and the 2 secondary schools here in the Hatboro-Horsham School District. Our guest today is the principal of our middle school. He's been there for many, many years. Welcome to the show, Principal Jon Kircher.
Hi, Dave.
John, good to see you once again.
Nice to see you too.
Principles of Learning is that show where we get to kind of showcase all those individual things that we do at our shows, because we hear all the great things all the time. But KV, when you put all those great things from the elementary schools together, you get them all in one shot.
We do.
3 grades full of stuff.
We do.
So we're going to talk about plenty of those things today.
Excellent.
Before we start about all this stuff and the things that you do on a day-to-day basis at the school, I always like to kind of encapsulate the principal, him or herself. Tell us about you. What's your style? If you had to have a style, what would you say this?
I prefer to say that I'm laid back, but we're really very much student-centered. We really try to make all the decisions based on what kids' needs, and we go from there. We also like to make it about the whole child, so we focus in what they're bringing in from home, what they can experience, what they might not get there, and then what we do is we try to create our whole educational program with activities around it to bring that all out for them.
Would you say, I mean, I know this for a fact, but you're hands-on, very hands-on. What exactly would you say is the one thing that you say, as principal, I am going to bring this to my school, and you've done it at KV for all these years?
I think the biggest thing is to be enthusiastic. Make kids want to come to school, make them have them feel that learning is fun, and they're comfortable and safe in doing it. So we want everyone to be excited to come to Keith Valley.
Okay. Before principal, you know, let's go back a little bit. Let's almost like a video resume here. Take us back to a few years before you're principal of KV. Okay. What was Jon Kircher?
Actually, I'm a graduate of Hatboro-Horsham.
Yes, you are.
I'm a proud graduate in 1992 here, which makes me 1 year older than Mr. Williams at the high school. But what we like to think is now that the inmates run the asylum, having 2 Hatter grads running the 2 biggest buildings of our school district. But after that, I went to Penn State, did an undergrad in social studies education, and then went and became a teacher at William Tennant High School. I taught social studies. I taught everywhere from American history to world history to government economics, and AP American history, still one of my favorite recollections of part of my career. From that, I got my master's degree in educational administration at Gwynedd, and then interviewed and came back and became the assistant principal here at Hatboro-Horsham High School. Was there for 3.5 years, and then went to become the principal of Keith Valley in 2004.
Now here's a question for you, and I ask all the principals this one, so not just for you. But what would you say is one thing that you kept from your teaching days, managing those classrooms, those lessons every day, that when you became principal of the main building at KV, that you said, I'm going to make sure I'm that for everybody, and make sure that that's also being instructed in the classroom?
When I was a teacher, I made sure that I made my students laugh at least twice every class period. Once at the beginning, once at the end. If you're laughing, you're relaxed, you're learning. So what I try to do as a principal is I go around all day, trying to make people laugh, not to be a jokester, but to keep people relaxed.
Yeah, and the truth be known here, talking about jokester, literally before we started the show, him and I were just joking the entire time. So I mean, he is what he says he is. He makes you very comfortable when you're around him. So, and that's cool, because the climate of KV is that. When you walk in, if you've never been there before, you walk into that building and you understand right away that I can relax here.
Yeah. What we do is you can look at the data and you can look at numbers, and our numbers are great, but the anecdotal stuff, when you come in and you feel the building, I agree with you. It's really a great middle school to be in.
Same thing too, climate-wise, as a fellow teacher. You know, you talk to the teachers, they love being in that building.
They do.
They love working in that building. They love being around each other. And it's like a club, you know, it really is. You're in the KV club, and if you're not in there, trust me, I teach at the high school, and it's kind of like,
who are they?
What am I missing? What am I missing down at KV? That seems so fun, you know. So, but it's, you know, to your credit, you keep that kind of climate going. All right. Well, we'll get to some of the specific things right now. But I want to talk first and foremost about the KV Challenge. We talk about the KV Challenge because this is by far is one of the big events that you have every year. And 36 years, you said?
36 years.
That's no small change.
Raised close to $700,000 for various charities. It started out in 1977, we had a student who passed away on his way to school. His friends thought he loved ice hockey, he loved street hockey, let's play it for him. So it started out as the Billy Whitehead Memorial, and it became the Keith Valley Challenge over time, because what it is, it's an all-night hockey marathon where our 8th graders raise money. Our beneficiary now is Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah, sure.
And last year we raised over $56,000. This year we're hoping to break it. I know we're very, very close right now.
Now, you and I have talked about the KV Challenge many times. Would someone watching the show for the first time does not know what this special event is? It's magical.
It is.
Why?
It's because it's kids doing things for kids. And the whole point is that we're able to give back to the community. We've given wishes. What our money does is the money we raise to Make-A-Wish goes to Wishes for Kids. Right. And we've been able to give back to students in our own school who are suffering from life-threatening illnesses or life-threatening circumstances that Make-A-Wish comes in and they do. We funded a wish of a $5,000 shopping spree at the King of Prussia last year at the King of Prussia Mall. We've done for Disney cruises. It's wonderful. It's just a great thing for kids.
You know, the video's on there now, and you've been there so many times, and you actually participated in it as a student.
I did.
And I remember the year that you said that. It was one of these wraparound type of years, which is we're in our year now, and I was here during this time. When you take that with you, it is a keepsake type of event. It's one of those milestones in a Hatboro-Horsham student's life. You see them coming of age almost throughout this process. Describe that.
You do. I mean, I've often said that in middle school, you come to middle school as a 6th grader needing a babysitter, but then by 8th grade, you're doing the babysitting. Right. And it's really true. And the 8th grade challenge, you really see from the beginning in the afternoon of the Friday to the morning of the Saturday, you see major maturity for students, because it really could be some of the first times they're out on their own overnight, and they're at school, they're in a safe environment, it's chaperoned, it's fun, they're with your friends. It's just really, and it's for just a wonderful, wonderful cause.
And I love it. Seniors now, every year seniors always talk about it, because in the senior video when we put that together, we always put in the KV Challenge stuff, and they look at themselves 4 years ago like, I look like that?
And what's amazing too is we have the speakers, and the speakers are timed to, we have our government representatives, but we have the kids who have had the wishes, we've had the families with the wishes, and this year it's even extra special because one of our 8th graders is a student named Adam Thron. Okay. And Adam Thron's uncle was Billy Whitehead, the boy who died on the way to school.
Oh, wow.
So the Whitehead family is going to be speaking this year. It gives me chills just thinking about it now. They've been so gracious and so
full
wonderful.
Circle. That's very interesting.
So that'll add a very extra special wrinkle to this year's
very
challenge.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll move on. KV Challenge obviously has its place. KV Connects.
KV Connects.
You always have these catchy little names. KV Challenge, KV Connects.
And we actually had to ask permission to use the Connects logo. They're a Horsham-based company. They've let us use it.
Okay. Well, what is it?
KV Connects is our anti-bullying character education program, where we like to say that school is about language arts, it's about math, it's about social studies and science, but it's also about students being responsible citizens and acting appropriately in all kinds of social situations. So it's our way to help them learn, if I do this, what's the reaction, what's the consequence going to be? But more empowering is I'm making good decisions, I feel good about myself. So we have a program where we bring in speakers. We have a KV Connects Day, which kicks it all off in September. But then all throughout the year, we had advisory, which is a half hour every Friday afternoon. And the students are connected throughout the grade level with a staff member, and they're able to talk about any type of issues. So this year, the last activity we did last Friday was a poster creation where they're wishing well for the 8th grade challenge participants, and we've hung them all over Keith Valley.
So they also get to see them, it's physically right here. It's
Absolutely.
not just, we don't just talk about it, we actually see it.
Very, very tangible.
I like that. Now, talk about tangible. I mean, we have a lot of veterans that are out in our community. We have veterans within our families, and it's interesting because you'd think, in the same way with KV Challenge and other things, 6th or 8th graders, what do they know? What do they care about veterans? You've had a much different experience, though, with that age in connection to Veterans Day. Tell us about that.
Our Veterans Day breakfast has become just this huge event. We get calls starting in September from veterans in the community again. What's the date again? And it's usually if we count on Veterans Day. If not, it's around that, a Friday around it. But it was created a few years ago by Mr. Robert Crosby, Ben Crosby, for those of you who knew that.
Yeah.
He was our longtime assistant principal who created this because he was a veteran himself, just to honor those who've honored and served for our country. And it's great because we have students who know in their families who have that connection, but they're able to then see the connection from World War II to Korea to Vietnam, even current veterans now through the Gulf War and in the war against terror. So it's really just an outstanding event for kids to see a rather real-life application of what they've learned.
Yeah, and I think too, as we look at the video, you must think about just the massive amount of veterans that are in the building. But I know this kid in class, I have a locker next to him, I've seen him in the classroom, but then I didn't realize that his grandfather fought in Korea.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that his dad was in Vietnam. Yeah. And then they see, like, wow, there's all this similarity.
It's the perfect teachable moment. It's the idea that, wow, it's the aha moment where they go, we just talked about this, or this is a real way for kids to put their learning to use. And then also listen to folks who like to talk. My favorite time is the pass around open mic time where they're telling the stories.
Oh,
and that's just the rich information that these kids just eat it all up.
History book comes to life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. All right, we're going to switch meals here. We're going to go from breakfast, we'll go to brunch. Okay. Intergenerational, it's a mouthful, intergenerational brunch.
It is. It's just another way for us to connect to the community. Yeah. It was the grandparents' brunch. But I remember my first year as principal, a parent called and said, well, my daughter's grandparents live in Colorado, they can't come.
Okay.
So I said, why not make it so you can invite mom and dad, you can invite Aunt Sally, you can invite all these different folks and just open up the school. And what we do is we have a very light program, light refreshments, we have a couple of music playing, and then we open up the school and then the students tour their guests around so that it makes the dinner time, another reference to real, it makes a dinner time conversation so that they know that they were talking about, you know, Mr. Delonzo's class that day, they saw where Mr. Delonzo's class was and what was going on there.
Yeah, look at that, a lot of stuff. Now, I'm going to go back a few months. I voted. I'm sure most people in this district voted, and we're talking about the B101 contest, if you're not sure what we're talking about. And it was interesting because at first, I just voted because the email came out district-wide, said, hey, vote for the kids. All right, no problem. I don't even know what I'm voting for. What is this? B101.com, boom. And then all of a sudden it was, wait a minute, let me hear this song. The coolest part about it was that over the holidays, I heard the song on the radio, and I had forgotten about the contest. It was just like, oh, that's a really good version of Grinch. And like, oh, it was the song. Yeah. Tell us about this.
My favorite was driving. I drive my 5-year-old daughter to school every day, and she would say, Dad, there's your school again. Dad, there's your school again. I love that song, and it was great. Miss Rubinlicht, our choral teacher, she and I had the idea to enter this contest, not thinking that we'd go anywhere with it, but the talent of our kids is just great, and they worked hard. And you know, we've reaped some benefits. We got $2,000, which we're going to put right back into the.
Right there,
yeah, we had a great time with the bee. You know, it was just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for all of us, for our kids. But mainly with the chorus, we've had then the opportunity to then again join with the community and have a cause for Keith Valley. Dr. Griffin and I had a conversation right after that. He was getting emails from people in California saying, I'm voting for your middle school. What a great group of kids. My cousin in Australia said she voted for my school, so far, far away.
That was really cool. And let me ask another follow-up question with that. The kids, obviously, the cool factor. You know, it's amazing to have my stuff on the radio. But when they realized, all right, we're close, what was that like?
It was amazing. I know all day long we were getting calls from people going, I think you can track it by Facebook likes. And we were saying, oh, no, 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 no. They're saying, no, no, that doesn't count. But we had students all day long, and we had some classes, I did allow this to happen, that would take the first 5 minutes, last 5 minutes, and just vote over and over and over and over and over again. So we did allow that a couple of days.
That's good stewardship there, sir. That's all right. You guys steer that plane in the right direction. Good stuff. All right, now here's a question. Let's go future. We talked about past. We talked about the challenge. What's down the road? You are full of ideas. I've known you now for 8 years. You are always full of ideas, but yet you have this unbelievable connection with the community.
I do.
Can you give us a little bit of a sneak peek where Jon Kircher wants to take KV down the road?
That's an outstanding question. We're working hard to make our school one that's a model for others. And we're very proud. I mean, I go to conferences and I brag all the time. I'm the principal of Keith Valley. I went to the school. I'm giving back. And this is just a great place to be. Let's show this. So there's a program called Schools to Watch. Our goal is to become listed as a national school to watch. It's along the lines of what we've known as blue ribbon schools. This is specifically for middle schools, and I think that's in our future, definitely within our grasp.
Yeah, you want it to become that on the tip of your tongue conversational school that's just, oh, have you heard about this one?
Absolutely, and we already did there.
Yeah, you are.
We just want the moniker to prove it, and to really show what Keith Valley is all about.
That is great. Guess what? We are out of time.
Okay.
And that's going to wrap up this show for us.
Great.
Jon, thanks again.
Thank you, Dave.
Really appreciate your time. Yeah, and absolutely. Let us know. HHTV is always there to serve and cover, as you've seen, all the great things going on at our schools, but KV just seems to have tons.
Got it, and we appreciate everybody's support.
All right, man. Good seeing it. That'll do it. Again, thanks for joining us here on Principles of Learning. Next month, we're going to feature Nancy Doherty. She is the principal over Blair Mill Elementary School. She's going to have lots of things to tell us about. So for all of us here at HHTV, including Andy Morse and Bob Anderson behind the scenes, I'm Dave Thomas. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you again next time.